Might wanna buckle up, baby.
Punch it! I'm Hannah, and welcome to another episode of That's Just Crait, the podcast where we talk about everything we think is Crait about a galaxy far, far away. I almost fumbled it, but I kept going.
You got it. You pulled through.
I got it. So this week, guys, instead of the Hannah and Logan show, we have the first ever Hannah and Jacob show. So welcome.
I'm honored. You know, I've seen so many episodes of the Hannah Logan show that I'm really excited to see where this spinoff takes us today, Hannah.
This is a new thing. Because we didn't have an episode last week because, you know, I was at Disney and the podcast can't function without me, guys.
That's actually very true, because let me explain exactly what happened, and I'm going to wrap myself, Hunter, and Logan out. The night that we were supposed to record while Hannah was at Disney World, we literally hopped on a call to record, and we started talking, and we all ended up playing Fortnite instead. So that literally is what happens whenever Hannah's not here, keeping everything together.
I did text them like my first day there, and I was like, guys, y'all gotta record. And they were like, we will. And then I saw your text about playing Fortnite, and I was like, they're not recording, are they?
You know, we tried, but unfortunately, do or do not, there is no try. We did not end up making an episode last week, but I think it all kind of worked out because, you know, if we weren't recording this episode now, we would be 2 weeks without a new episode.
Exactly.
And I think that both you and I talking about it, especially you, we were like, we can't do that. We've got to be consistent with it. So.
Consistency is key.
Absolutely. You know, it's like, what are the viewers going to do without, you know, an episode of That's Just Crait dropping every Friday and or Saturday?
No. Well, I did have some people ask me because they had actually been catching up on our podcast, and they were like, "Do y'all have an episode this week?" And I was like, "No."
Oh no! I feel like Anakin Skywalker. What have I done?
What have I done?
We've ruined everything. It was letting me know that this was not Hannah's fault. This was all of the guys on the pod, unfortunately.
My fault for being at the most magical place on Earth.
And for being on vacation.
It was a fun time though.
How was it? You said it was fun?
It was really fun. So we were there on my birthday, but it was not intended to be my birthday trip. I guess it was a year ago. It almost feels like 2 years ago. Last year in the spring, I went with my friend Christy, and it was basically my first real trip with just one friend of mine. Mm-hmm. And we had lots of fun together. And we were like, you know, we should be new Disney buddies. I'd love to go in the fall. Let's plan a trip sometime in the future that's in the fall. So then we had planned about that trip being the following year, which would be this year. So this trip was actually supposed to be my only Disney trip this year, but I did go in the spring, kind of last minute, because my sister was graduating high school and wanted to go for her senior trip, and my mom couldn't take her. So that's why I went then. But yeah, the fall trip happened, and then we added my friend Kaylee in just because we thought it would be fun, and you know, it's a lot more efficient to split the cost between more people. So just
absolutely
pluses all around. But I remember, I think it was early summer, I was like, okay, we gotta probably buy our stuff soon before prices go up. So I gave them I think it was 4 different weeks in the fall that would work for me. And I was like, just pick whatever works best for you. And the week that worked best for everyone was over my birthday. So I was like, birthday trip. But it was not my birthday trip. It was just our fall Disney trip. But nice. It was really fun.
That just happened to fall on your birthday too.
Right. So that was fun because we did spend my birthday in Epcot. And it was the first time in my recent Disney trips that I've gotten to spend a full day at Epcot. So I actually felt like we finally were able to accomplish a lot there. And we also met up.
Did you do the drinking around the world?
No, I had intentions to try more drinks, But I've discovered that the fries at Disney World really mess with my stomach. So I had two
Mm.
drinks, and then we ate some. They had a fry flight as one of their things because it was the Food and Wine Festival. So it was like 3 cups of fries, and
Oh, I
one
forgot
was
that was
salt and
going on.
vinegar, truffle fries, and sweet potato fries, and I devoured all of them. And it did not mix well with the rum and the sake that was already in my tummy. So I didn't drink
Oh,
much
sake.
until dinner after that. Yeah.
I listen. I love sake, but sake does not love me. So,
I even said
oh
when we got
man,
there, I
mixing
was
it
like,
with fries is crazy.
I shouldn't mix, but I did, and it was fine. But I was fine for the rest of the day. And we actually met up with a Star Wars Twitter mutual later in the day who is a cast member. So shout
Shout
out
out.
Darth North on Twitter and Instagram. He was able to get us being a cast member. I didn't even know this was a thing that you could do at Epcot because apparently it's only something that you can do if you know a cast member that works
Mhm.
there. But he, since it was my birthday, he was like, I'd like to do something to like make y'all's day more magical or whatever. And they can get
Cool.
dockside viewing for the fireworks show. So like we got to go out on a dock, just us on
Yeah,
the
that's
thing to
awesome.
watch the fireworks, and it was really incredible. So
The
that was awesome.
fireworks show at Epcot too is amazing.
Yes, and this is their newer one. I had never seen the old one because whenever we do
Mm,
Epcot, we park hop and then we start the day there. So like I had never seen the Epcot fireworks show, so it was really awesome.
that's awesome. That's so cool. Well,
Yeah.
shout out to you, Darth North, right?
Yes. TJ.
I didn't want to say like the wrong name and
Yeah.
then be listening to the pod and being like, wait a minute.
But that
That
is
that
his
that
tag and like name on Twitter and everything. So yeah.
I can just imagine them getting really mad. Like that hack Jacob didn't say my name right.
Gosh darn it. But I
See, this
guess
is
for
why we have you on the
Star
pod
Wars
because you remember
stuff,
the ads.
for Star Wars stuff, we actually had a more chill day in Hollywood Studios. Kind of we're just there for the
Ah,
vibes.
my
So
beloved.
took a lot of pictures. Got in line to take pictures with Chewbacca, which was also really awesome because Christy, fun fact, if you have ever been to Galaxy's Edge, our listeners, you know that everybody, especially in Batu, they stay really in line and in character with whoever they are. So
Mhm.
my friend Christy has always liked to go Disney bounding in dark side stuff. And because of that, she has never gotten a hug from Chewbacca.
Oh,
So this time she was like, I am dressing like an Ewok and I am getting my Chewbacca hug. So we like when we were waiting in line, we like pushed her up to the front of our group and we are like, you're going first. This is your moment. Like I've hugged Chewie a bunch of times. I was like, I don't even care. Like if it's just you, you're getting your Chewie hug. And she did. And it was such an awesome little moment for her. So Christy finally got her Chewbacca hug. If you know, you know.
no.
But
Shout
that
out,
was
Christy.
yes.
Those hugs are always the best too, especially from a character
Are
like that that's like furry. It's like they
yes.
do say in the movies that Wookiees give great hugs, but
Yes.
when you experience one IRL,
Mm-hmm.
it hits different.
It really does. We got to I got to launch us into hyperspace on the Millennium Falcon again. I was so happy for that because I
I
just
love it.
it's so much more fun when you can fly it, but especially when you're the one that can go into hyperspace. It's just
Oh yeah.
hits
I
different.
remember when my friend and I went, because funnily enough, my friends and I, two friends of mine and myself, back in like 2019,
Mm.
literally the week that The Rise of Skywalker was coming out, we
Oh
saved
yeah.
up for like the entire year. And that December, we went to Disney World to celebrate us finishing up college and to celebrate episode 9 coming out and just everything and just to have a fun trip
Mm-hmm.
because we had never done that before and we had to split the cost and everything too
Yeah,
because
it's
like it
great.
really is so expensive but whenever you split it up like that,
It's so doable that
perfect,
way.
it's great. And so I remember we were there for like the whole week budgeting, like we were set. It was
Mhm.
so much fun. And I remember whenever we did Smuggler's Run, I did not get the seat that
Mm.
shoot you off the light speed. But my friend did. And I remember whenever it lit up, because like it lights up and like
Yep.
tells you that it's like time to pull it. I remember my friend like looked at it and I looked over at him and his face was just like his like jaw was like on the floor. Like you could just like feel the excitement. It's like he was like
Hmm.
7 years old, like all over again. Um, but that's such a fun ride.
It
Batu
really
and
is.
Galaxy's Edge is just such an amazing experience.
And I don't
And if
know.
you've never gone, you totally should.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what was happening this day, but I hadn't waited so long in line to ride Smuggler's Run in a very long time. But the wait was
Mhm.
like over 2 hours all day.
Oh my god.
And we had Lightning Lane and we still waited in the Lightning Lane line for 30 minutes. So that's why I was like, is something happening? And then we got up there and we realized that like half the pods for the ride were down. So
Uh
they were really having to, they had limited availability.
so much like the real Millennium Falcon, it was
Yeah.
broken.
Well, some
Great.
cast member told us that when we got up there, and I went, "What a piece of junk!" And they like almost broke character. It was so funny.
See, like I have a little hack for Smuggler's Run, and it may not get you the seat that you want. It's a gamble every time. The
Okay.
way that you do Smuggler's Run, single riders every
Yes.
time. You can ride Smuggler's Run. My friends and I probably did it like 3 times back to back to back.
Mm,
If you do single riders, like it's perfect. But that's insane, like a 2 hour wait. But I guess if it's
yeah.
broken down, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
But see, like I'll tell you what you have to wait in line for. Did you do Rise of the Resistance?
Yes. So my trick with Rise of the Resistance is I book a later Oga's Cantina time so that we get
Mm-hmm.
out of the cantina right before park close. So then you get in line for Rise of the Resistance then because the line's not going to be that long.
Ah,
And
okay, I
then
got
when
you.
you're leaving the park, it's empty because it's closed.
Hmm.
That is the
Instead of the
best way
Hannah
to do
Jacob show, we should just call this like the Secrets of
it. Disney
Galaxy's
hacks.
Edge. Disney hacks with
Yep.
Hannah and Jacob. Oh man. But no, like those rides are so much fun, but they do have some like terrible waits. But I think it's gotten better in recent
It
years,
has.
especially for Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah.
Because I remember I had to wake up at like 3 in the morning just to
Yes.
get like a boarding pass for Rise
Right.
whenever it
That
was like
was
starting
back when
out.
they did a virtual queue for it because it was still new
Yes.
and you still had
Hmm.
to wait like 2 hours.
God, it was crazy.
Never
But
again.
going to Galaxy's Edge for the first time the week that episode 9 dropped, I'm
Mm,
telling you,
that's
unreal
such a good time
experience.
to
Like
go.
so cool. Like I can remember my friends and I speculating about what we thought was going to happen in the movie, like in
Mm.
line for Smuggler's Run. Like it was
Speaking
such a
of,
fun time.
I also would like to shout out this very nice guy that we met while we were getting some food in the docking bay. Um, I had seen him earlier in the day, and he just exudes good Star Wars fan aura because he's definitely like middle aged, like probably upper 40s, 50s, something like that.
Hmm.
And but he was dressed in like full rebel getup and
Whoa. Okay.
just looked awesome. And when we walked into docking bay, we picked a place to sit down and you know, I devoured my Ronto wrap because I was starving.
They're
and
so good
then
too. I can eat like 8 of them.
and then I looked next to us because we were sitting in one of like the secluded container options for docking bay. And the guy dressed in rebel gear was sitting right next to us. So I was like, oh, I actually had printed out some stickers for the podcast just in case I started talking to anybody cool or whatever. So I was like, I'm going to give him a sticker
Hmm.
and tell him about the podcast. So I grabbed a sticker and I was like, hi. And this was big for me because I am so introverted and so socially anxious, but I feel like around Star Wars fans I feel more comfortable. So I was like, I'm gonna push myself here and like go introduce myself to this guy and say hi. So I did, and I was like, hi, I just wanted to say like I love your outfit. It's really awesome to see other people dress up that way. And I don't know if you listen to podcasts, but I have a podcast with my friends and I wanted to give you a sticker. And he thought it was awesome, and he
Oh,
does want to check it out. So if you're listening, hi Stu, you were really nice. But we chatted for quite a while, and he's a fan of like everything. And he asked about if I had played the Jedi games, and I was like, yes, Cal Kestis is one of my favorite characters. Hello. And we just like sat there and talked about all the things that we loved about Star Wars for probably 20 minutes. And he gave me a patch with the Rebel insignia on it. So it was
oh,
just
cool.
a nice little moment.
It's moments like that that make it so worth it to be like a
Mhm.
part of the fandom.
Yeah.
Because I think we talked about it briefly in the last episode, but like for real, for every bad experience that you might have on like Twitter or somewhere online,
Mhm.
you'll have like an amazing five amazing experiences like that.
Exactly.
And
Like,
seeing
there are more
people like
fans.
dressed up is so cool too.
Yes. Well, and I feel like there's more fans out there like him that just and like us that just genuinely love Star Wars and everything about it, and I think that
Yeah.
is what it should be all about.
Oh, I'm right there with you. That's so cool. That's awesome that you met so many people like while you were there too.
I
That's
know.
part of the fun of Galaxy's Edge, I feel like. Because
Yes.
I remember like waiting in line, like those waits can be bad depending on
Mhm.
like the time that you're like waiting in line, but like my friend and I talked to so many like random people in line about like the movies and like
Mhm.
the shows and things like that. Like we would pull up like Star Wars trivia games. Like it's
Yeah.
such an amazing experience, not just because it's so immersive, but because of like all of the amazing fans that are there too. It's a really cool
Yes.
time. I'm glad you had
One
a
of my
fun time.
favorite
That's
things
awesome.
I I know we keep talking about this. Like,
No,
but
it's
to
all
go off
good.
of that, one of my favorite things is when you have a really excited kid in line behind you or something for the
It's
Star
so
Wars stuff.
sweet.
Because I the first time I went with Christy, we were in line for Star Tours, and there was just this little girl behind us. She was probably 5 or 6 years old, and she was with her grandma,
Mm-hmm.
and she was so
Oh,
stinking excited to ride Star Tours. And she got seated next to me, and I can't remember. Maybe it wasn't with Christy. Maybe it was with Kaylee. I don't remember. But I was definitely like in a Star Wars bound thing.
mm-hmm.
And we sat down and she sat down and like her feet were kicking. She couldn't even touch the ground. She was just so giddy and excited. And her grandma was laughing at her. So I was like, oh, have y'all ever ridden this before? And they were like, no. And I was like, you are going to love it. It is so awesome. And I just like basically hyped up Star Tours to them. And when you like when Darth Vader came out and like is like, "Where's the rebel spy?" And then when you launch into hyperspace, I looked at the little girl and her face was just like wide-eyed, mouth
Oh, that's so
open, filled
sweet.
with joy, and it was the cutest thing I'd ever experienced. I
Ah,
still think
that's what
about
makes it
that.
so special.
Right?
Like that, like stuff like that just like warms my heart. Like,
Right?
like I've been thinking a lot lately about how The Mandalorian and Grogu is gonna be like some kids' first
Mhm.
Star Wars movie that they see in the theater.
Right? Oh my
And like
gosh.
to me that's like part of the joy of like a new Star Wars movie
Mhm.
being released in theaters too. Because like you just think about like the first time that you saw one in a theater and like what it means to you and
Yeah.
like it's so sweet. Like that's so cool. That's really sweet.
I love it. I love Star Wars.
No way, me too. Crazy. We should have
Well,
a podcast about it.
speaking of things we love about Star Wars, did you hear the news?
Somehow Palpatine returned.
I cannot.
Hannah didn't
I
know I
need
was
to
gonna do it
make
then.
I need to make some merch already with that for us because
We need to have like a compilation of every time I've said it.
me too.
I think I've done it every episode. I really do. I think there
I,
hasn't been one episode where I
yeah.
haven't gone without making the
Well,
joke.
it's not that the fact that you've done it every episode, but it's multiple times every episode.
I know. Listen, it's like my whole shtick, you know? But Hannah,
Anyways,
do enlighten me. What is the news?
the news is that Ahsoka season 2 has officially wrapped filming. So I am so excited because that means we are so close to more stuff coming out about it. Because I know like everybody's kind of been freaking out lately because of stuff that some of the cast has posted. Like you have Natasha, who plays Sabine. She posted something on her story lately, or Aman Esfandi. just posted the really gut-wrenching pull at your heartstrings where he recreated the picture of Ezra on that balcony and then like had it
That
fade
was
into the actual.
crazy.
Oh my gosh.
I, we were talking about this briefly before we
We
started
were.
recording, but like, I know I said it then, but I'll say it again for everybody listening now. I saw that, and at first I thought it was just the still from the episode of Rebels, the very first episode, and
Mm-hmm.
then it hit me. No, that's him recreating the shot, and I was like, ah, that's like it.
It
That means
just
something to me,
gets
man.
ya.
Like I'm excited for it.
It gets ya. Oh my gosh.
I'm so hyped for Ahsoka season 2. Ahsoka
Me
season 1, I have
too.
like a really kind of like cool connection with, because one, I think it's just a great show. Like
Mm-hmm.
overall, I think it like really works as like an epilogue to Rebels, and I think that as its own thing, it's also just a really fun show. Um,
Yeah.
but I think that it was also well, I don't think I know that it was the series that I really started talking about on Twitter and on my social
Okay.
media accounts, and that kind of got me more involved in Star Wars Twitter and where I am today. So I
Well,
credit
hey.
the Ahsoka series for a lot of that, and talking about it online, and that every episode dropping every week was like such an experience.
It really
Like
was.
I really cannot overstate it. Like I know Andor, like everybody loves it. I know Andor, everybody was hyped for the new episode drops, but the Ahsoka drops also hit different. And
They
like
hit
talking
different.
about it throughout the week was great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
I just
sorry for
remember.
yapping. I just love the show.
Me too. Well, I just remember watching it was so surreal for me growing up as an Ahsoka fan. Like,
Hmm.
yes, the Clone Wars is technically Ahsoka's show and Ahsoka's story, but at the same time, like she was always this character that I grew up with, but I thought it never would go further than the Clone Wars. And I
Yeah,
always like
neither.
it wasn't until recent years where like people would ask me who's my favorite Star Wars character, and I'd say Ahsoka Tano, and they'd be like, "Who's that?" But
Yeah,
now everybody knows who Ahsoka is, and like when she showed up again in Rebels, that was like the biggest deal for me for like the next 3 years because I was
yeah.
like, "Oh my god, she has shown up in something outside of Clone Wars,"
And
and
not even that, but like, do you remember whenever like she debuted in The Mandalorian?
yes, and that's
I
I'm
remember that
getting
night
to that
very fondly.
because first, like, I went from not thinking we'd ever see her again after she left the Jedi Order, because, you know, the show got canceled before they could finish it, and then we just
Yeah.
recently got the last. But, anyways, I would have never in my wildest dreams thought that we would ever get Ahsoka in any live action project ever. And so the fact that she's there and it still kind of directly ties her to everything that happens, like, in the main trilogy, it just like it fulfills a hole in my heart that I didn't know was there.
Yeah. It's so cool too to see her in this era because like kind of building off like what you kind of started with. Like
Mm-hmm.
I remember like when the Clone Wars came out, kind of like being taken aback by like Anakin having a Padawan. Like it's not that I hated the character, it was just more
Right, but
like
you question
she's not in
things.
Revenge of the Sith, so it's like
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of assumed that she died in Order 66. And then after
Yeah,
the Clone Wars got canceled, I was like, well, where do we go from here? And kind of like what you said too, when she showed up in Rebels, that's something too that I'll never forget.
I.
Because like there's that
Oh.
whole mystery in season 1 of like who was Fulcrum, who was
Mm-hmm.
sending these messages to Hera and these assignments to Hera, you know.
Yeah,
But
it's
I don't
just
know. I that night with the Mandalorian too was crazy. Like I want to say that you and me and Hunter were talking that night, but I can't
we were,
remember. Yeah.
and
Okay.
I'm glad that we have like all the things have happened to get to the Ahsoka show because if you know me, you know I was very upset by her appearance in The Mandalorian. 'Cause
I
I was
wasn't gonna
like
bring it
that.
up,
I was
so
like, because that was one thing. Like when she showed up in Rebels, I was like, she looks different, but it like grew on me. And at
Yeah.
least some things, like, we're still following the continuity, and it's mainly just the difference in animation that made her look that way. But now I'm, like, used to it.
Yeah.
But, like, it was really just, like, her montrals and her Leku that were really, like, I was
Yeah.
really passionately upset about it because I was like, this is not right. Because,
Because
like,
they're so short compared to
yeah,
Rebels,
well,
right?
like, accuracy is such a big thing to me that just, like, I was like, I could do better.
You were literally
But I'm
talking to right
glad
before we
that they
started
look.
recording
Hmm?
about the lightsaber. Oh, I was gonna say real quick because you said accuracy is like everything to
Yes.
you. You were literally talking before we started recording about how you have like the Ahsoka
Mm.
lightsabers, but like
Yep.
nobody, not even third party people, usually get them right.
No.
And you were like, I just need somebody to like get them right.
Somebody needs to make them correctly.
You said that with some malice. I could hear
I
it.
feel
You meant
I
that.
feel like I have found, I can't remember what company it is, but there's one third party company, and I do really, because I really want her Clone Wars sabers. Fun fact,
Hmm.
I have the Galaxy's Edge Ahsoka Rebel sabers. And when I got them, my family, we were on a Disney trip around Christmas time. I think it was a week after Christmas. And it was the last week that they were selling the Clone Wars ones, and they were going to take them out of stock. They're back in stock now,
Hmm.
which makes me mad. But that was the last week they were going to be selling them for the foreseeable future. And I went
Hmm.
into Doc Andars and I asked for my Clone Wars Ahsoka. And do you know what the girl told me?
I don't know if I want to know.
That the person in front of me had bought the last pair.
Aw.
And
No.
I
I would have crashed out.
wanted to cry, but then she was like, but we have her white bladed ones from Rebels. And I was like, I wanted to buy Ahsoka sabers, give them to me.
Mhm.
But
Those are still
I'm
cool.
not in love with them because they are gigantic.
Oh no.
So eventually I will have my Clone Wars Ahsoka lightsabers. One day I will, but they have to be
Mhm.
accurate.
I
Oh.
also, to go back to like Alecu and everything though, I remember that discourse very fondly.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wasn't very vocal about it, but I also kind of felt the same way. So I'm
Yeah,
glad they fixed it for the Ahsoka
me
series and they kind
too.
of listened to people
Because
talking about it.
honestly, and like I have a few screenshots of her, like when they had the star map projection going on and everything, and she just looks
Yeah,
so ethereal. And it made me
yeah.
realize that one of the biggest things that bothered me about the early model of her, like who in Montrals, was that they were shaped funny too. Like not only were they too short, but they were shaped really weird, so it made her head and her face look weird. But now
Hmm.
they are shaped to like fit Rosario's face better and like actually complement her face shape so it looks more natural.
Now that you say that, that actually makes so much sense.
Hmm.
I
Because it
never
made,
thought about that. I'm gonna put a
if
side
you
by side
looked
on
at
the
her
screen.
with like a side profile, it almost made her face like jut out of them and it made her
Mhm.
very rectangular. And now it's more like smooth
Round.
and
Yeah.
flowy and like they're supposed to be. Like I'd compare
That's
them
so cool.
to Rebels Ahsoka with how they look in the show now.
Mhm. And that's how they should look because
Yeah.
it's in the same kind of like not the same era, but close enough. I
Yeah.
mean, she's an older version of the same character.
Right.
You know, we'll see.
Hmm.
Honestly,
Which,
though,
mm, you
go ahead.
saying
What were you
really
gonna say?
older. This is something that annoys me with discourse about Ahsoka, saying that she's acting out of character and stuff. I feel like these people are so, when they think of Ahsoka, they think of Clone Wars Ahsoka, who was a
Yeah.
child, a teenager. She's in her 40s now at this point. She has been through some stuff. She has matured. She has a different outlook on life. She carries herself differently because it's been
Mhm.
like 30 years.
I feel like people
So,
forget just how young she was in the Clone
right.
Wars.
Like, of
Like
course
that's
you're
why I
going
like
to act
Ariana
different.
Greenblatt playing like young
Yes.
Ahsoka because it just shows how young she was during that war
Hmm.
versus like where she's at now as like a little bit older,
Right.
you know?
Because I almost feel like through the animation, you almost don't quite grasp how quickly Ahsoka had to grow up, and just like you just don't realize how young she was. But seeing her look so young in live action, I feel like it just
Yeah,
displays that differently.
I agree. I think that the same issues kind of with Bo-Katan a little bit. Bo-Katan, tomato,
Yes.
tomato.
Yeah.
I've never, I say it both ways. I
I
think
say
it's
both
Katan.
can.
Um, I think it's like the same thing with her to where it's like, I know Kitty Sackhoff voices the character, but
Mhm.
it's like, shouldn't she be in like her 60s or 70s by
I
that
can't
point?
quite remember. It's very
I can't
possible.
remember. Maybe. I'll look it up. And
Yeah.
someone's already probably typing a comment being like, Jacob, actually, she's actually this age. Or maybe she's just wearing a lot of makeup. I don't know.
Maybe she's wearing
I
a
don't know. I
maybe
don't know. I feel like if
Mandalorians
I
don't
were
age
in
the
Death
same.
Watch, it would age me tremendously.
Yeah.
But
Let's
that's
see.
just me.
Oh,
But
I guess she's younger. She was in her 20s in the Clone Wars, so she's estimated to be in her early 50s in The
okay, then
Mandalorian.
that lines up. That's okay then.
Yeah.
My bad. I'm going to retract that one from the statement.
So she's not supposed to be old. But
I just
yeah,
said retract that from the statement. Hold on.
we
I
know what
that
you
that
meant.
made no sense at all. I'm
I
gonna
know what you
retract
meant.
that from the pod. That's what I meant to say. After
Okay.
I said it, I was like, wait, that didn't come out right. My bad. Katie Sackhoff, you look great. That's not what I'm trying to say. You do a great job playing the character. Um, but to go into Ahsoka season 2,
Hmm.
which we've got some really cool stuff for it this week, between like the first official photo of Baylan Skoll this season.
Yes, he looks.
Um,
I honestly think they recast very well, and the test for like the makeup and stuff. I think that's what the picture was from. I see the
yeah, I think
vision.
so too.
It looks good.
I see it too. I want to
So I
make sure
know
I'm getting the
some
actor right.
people. I saw some people complaining about things, but I'm pretty sure it was like a screen test or like costume test, so it's not the final version that's going to be in the show.
I think the same thing. I'm right there with you. Though I will say that Rory McCann looks fantastic in that
Hmm.
screen test, even
He
if it is
does.
just that. And honestly, like, look, it's going to be hard to follow up Ray Stevenson because one,
Yeah,
Ray Stevenson was just a phenomenal actor in general
a
outside of
legend.
Star Wars.
Hmm.
But his performance, especially as Baylan Skoll in Ahsoka, really surprised me and really took
Yeah.
me off guard as to how much I ended up loving that character and just not knowing everything about the character and what that character wants is
Hmm.
something that I think is like the show's biggest strength. So I'm excited to see what they do with it, and I'm interested to see how kind of Rory builds off of what Stevenson already kind of like established in that first season. Um, I really like him from Game of Thrones,
Okay.
so
I
I
still have yet to watch that.
oh, you totally should.
I know. I want to. It's just there's so much of it that it's intimidating.
I got you. I got you. That's how I feel about a few other shows,
Yeah.
but I get it. Um, but no, he's really good in that show for the character he has to play. And I'm interested to kind of see what he does with Baylan Skoll and
Hmm.
kind of how we kind of go off of his Stevenson's performance in the first season.
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued, to
Me
say the
too.
least.
I
But
think
I'll
he's such
post
an
a picture of it
interesting
on the screen in
character.
case you guys haven't seen it. I probably already have posted it on the screen, but I'll share it again just in case. But Hannah, what else did we get from Ahsoka season 2 this week aside from it wrapping
Um,
filming?
I know there's a slight nod to the possibility that we'll be going back to Lothal at some point because Dave Filoni mentioned
Hmm.
something about I feel like this was mentioned a while ago about the Loth kittens.
Mhm.
But I guess recently he mentioned something about the Loth kittens and what was his name? Merle, Sabine's Loth cat that we see on Lothal.
Yes.
I think his name was
Yes.
Merle. Said something about seeing him again. So I'm pretty sure that Merle got left behind on Lothal. So that means we have to go back to Lothal, right?
Why does everybody want to go back to
Back to
Lothal?
Lothal. I knew it was coming.
It was right there. Listen, if I can make a
It
sequels
was.
reference, I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna let that one slide. I'll just take it every time. But like that also means that we're getting off of Peridia, which I mean we kind of expected that they would. But the question is,
Yeah.
how do we get off of Peridia?
I know. Well, like
I'm
it took
assuming
them
that
so
Ezra can get them
long.
there, but
Took them so long to get there. So, I mean, clearly the technology exists now. They can more
yeah,
easily, accessibly get there. But I also wonder if, like, gosh, no, I just lost my train of thought. Never
I think that
mind.
Ezra can get them there. You know, he's got
Yeah,
deals on deals on deals. He can get them there. That's a really niche reference. I don't know if a lot of people are going to get
I
that or
feel
not,
like everybody
but
on Twitter knows it.
you know, I'll say this now too. In case you don't know, I'll just explain because it'll go into something that I'm about to say. Really quick, not to take away from Ahsoka season 2. But in case you don't know, the voice actor for Ezra Bridger in Rebels did a Buffalo Wild Wings commercial to where he says they've got deals on deals on deals.
Buffalo Wild Wings has deals
Um,
on deals on deals.
deals on, I'm gonna put in the commercial in the middle of the pod. So shout out Buffalo Wild Wings if you're
Beat
listening.
ups.
Um, but what is it? Like I almost did a sponsored video for a company that I'm not going to name. You can maybe guess who the company is, and maybe I will do it eventually, but I decided not to this time around. I almost said this company has deals on deals on deals
Hmm.
when promoting their Star Wars related items. But I decided not to because I was
Real
like, the people that get it are
inconspicuous.
going to get it,
Yeah,
but I don't know.
that's so
Maybe
funny.
one of these days. Maybe I'll cave and do it
Yeah.
relatively soon. I don't know, but keep an eye out for that, I suppose. And if you're the company and you're listening to this for whatever reason, um, then just
Approve
know
of
the
the
Star Wars
idea.
fans are gonna love it.
They are.
They are the Rebels fans, especially.
Yes. Speaking of Rebels and Taylor Ezra's voice actor, we a friend of the pod, Javi and Shelby. I actually got to see them on my Disney trip, but they were just at a con where they got to meet Ezra's voice actor and Hera's voice actress. So
That's
they
so cool.
told me a little bit about that, and it just seemed like such a fun time. And they said that they were both really, really sweet and kind, and just love all the love for Rebels, and that their characters are back on screen again in Ahsoka. So I think that's what's so fun about the Ahsoka show is like it doesn't just fulfill Ahsoka fans, but like Rebels fans.
Hmm. I also want to shout out my cousin. Speaking of Rebels,
Mm.
I'll also link Javi and Shelby's socials in
Yes,
the
shout
description for this
out.
episode. They're very good friends of the pod, like Hannah said, and they're really awesome.
They
And
are
you should totally follow them. So I'll put both of their stuff in the description below. I will also shout out my cousin real quick. Noah, if you're listening to this, shout out to you. And I'll link his art account because he does like cartoon art.
oh, slave.
On like his like social media. But Noah was at a convention this past weekend, and it was really funny because he sent me a text and he was like, "Hey Jacob, who do you think would win the fight, Cal Kestis or Starkiller?" And I was like, I think that like Starkiller would probably wipe just because he's so powerful, you know. But I think that Cal's the better character." And he said, "Oh, that's cool. My friend agrees." And he sent back a picture of him with Sam Witwer.
Oh my
And I was
gosh.
like, no way you just met him at the con.
The
I'll ask
goat.
him if I have permission to put the picture in, but it was crazy. I was like, whoa, bro. And I immediately followed that up with, don't tell him that I said that I don't like Starkiller. I will praise Sam Witwer's Darth Maul any day of the week.
Oh
Love
yes.
him in Clone Wars, love him in Rebels, love him in Maul Shadow Lord, even though it hasn't
He's
even come out
great.
yet.
Oh, I'm so excited for
Um,
that.
I can't wait to see what they do with it.
Hmm.
But it was just crazy. It was like, whoa, I feel like everybody's meeting everybody this weekend.
Oh, for real.
So I wish I could. I feel
It's a
like I
great
haven't
time.
been.
A great time to be a nerd. I also know that New York Comic Con is this week. So shout out to all the homies that are going to be there. I hope y'all have fun. I'm totally not jealous
Hmm.
of the Lucas Museum panel that's happening.
Oh, I wish I could go to that.
I
That's going to be
know.
incredible. Once that's
But yeah,
open, I have to visit it.
I know. Me too. I think it should just be looped in with the Star Wars Celebration trip.
I think so too. Hannah,
It's
also,
gonna
I
be a
have
big
to
trip.
talk about this
Yes.
because I think the last episode,
Mm-hmm.
Logan was talking about how a certain Star Wars actor
Mm-hmm.
uh, may or may not have robbed him and stolen his Lego Cal
Oh
Kestis
yeah.
minifigure. His name might be Cameron Monaghan. I don't know. Maybe. But funnily enough, I have a sequel. I have a sequel to this, an update to
Oh.
this, if you will.
Okay.
Because there I was in my house washing my dishes, like a loser. And all of a sudden, my phone goes off with a notification from Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, I thought it was a generic thing. And then I saw they quoted a tweet of mine, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, what's this? I click on it to see Cameron Monaghan reading my
Oh
Rebuild the
yeah.
Galaxy tweet. I lost
That
my
was an
mind.
insane moment.
I started like hyperventilating. I was like, no
He
way
did.
that Cal Kestis
Guys,
read my tweet.
Jacob called our group chat after that and was like panicking, and then after 30 seconds he was like, I gotta go.
I had to take some deep breaths. I had to do some meditation after that.
We
Much
were
like
like,
how
you
Cal
called
Kestis does.
us.
I know. Well, I had to share it with somebody. I was so excited. I was like, oh
Oh,
my God. Like, even thinking about it now, like, has my heart racing a bit.
that was
It
so
was
funny.
so cool because, like, aside from like a few small interactions, I really haven't met a lot of like famous people. I've talked to
Mm-hmm.
some big Star Wars names. I've talked to like Ryan Johnson in passing on Twitter. I've talked to
Oh,
like Ron Howard in passing on
that's
Twitter.
cool.
Like, I've spoken to a few people here and there.
Yeah.
Swagman, gotta shout them out.
Shout
But
out.
like, I've never like met a Star Wars actor, or at
Mm.
least in my memory, I haven't, which I really want to change that so
Yeah.
bad. But that's like as close as I've gotten, like to like having
Mm-hmm.
a conversation like with a Star Wars.
That's
It was
crazy.
so
It's just
special.
that
Like I'm
moment of like,
stumbling now just because like I don't know what to say.
right. It's like that moment of, oh my gosh, this person now knows I exist.
It was insane. Oh my God. Well, Hannah, you mentioned this on the phone before the pod, and
Mm-hmm.
so I kind of want you to kind of lead us into this,
Okay.
because you thought it would be a really cool idea to do some recommendations
I did.
for things like pieces of Star Wars media leading into Ahsoka season 2.
Yes. So this will be a little disorganized, but stay tuned on Instagram. I'm going to make an organized video on Instagram about this as well. But I figured, it's going to be crunch time, making sure we rewatch all the important things before Ahsoka. And, obviously a big chunk of that is all of Clone Wars and all of Rebels and just stuff like that. And that's just a lot. So I figured if there were key episode arcs that you could watch, it would make it a little bit easier to prepare for the second season. Obviously, we got to rewatch
Oh,
Ahsoka
cool.
season 1, but some
Mhm.
things that I have compiled a very messy list that would be good to watch. If we're just thinking Ahsoka and like importance for her and stuff like that, obviously we have to watch her Tales of the Jedi episodes. Um, the Clone Wars movie, if you feel like it.
Mhm.
I feel like that one could also be skipped if you don't. Um,
I feel like it's a
let's
good
see.
start, though.
Yeah, definitely the Mortis arc. I just feel
Oh
like
yeah,
with where Balin, where his arc kind of left us questioning, I just feel like it's pointing towards the Mortis arc. So I feel like that one's got to be important to watch.
I think
Um,
so too.
gosh, I'm like so
That was a good
my
pick.
list
I didn't
my list
even.
is not in order at all. Season 1 of Clone Wars, Storm over Ryloth. Um, gosh, what is the other one? I think season 5, Ahsoka's whole like trial and leaving the Jedi Order arc. Gosh, I can't talk. That one's really important. Obviously, Siege of Mandalore arc in season 7. Gosh, what's the other one? Oh, I think it's season 3, the Padawan Lost arc. That's a
Mm-hmm.
good one. You
Is
should
that the one with
totally.
Chewbacca?
Ugh, I can't quite
Mm,
remember. See,
maybe.
I need to go back and watch these myself. So this is list for me, but also for everybody else. Um, this will be some not watching, but there is an audiobook version if you don't want to sit down and read. But please consume the Ahsoka novel in some shape or form. It is so important to her character, so important to her story, and I feel like not enough people have read it. Billions must read. Read the
Billions
Ahsoka
must read.
novel. It is so important, and I feel like it is so like it plays into so much of Ahsoka's like inner psyche and character growth that we see in the show itself. So go watch it.
Mhm. You know, I
Um,
actually was about to reread that one probably later this month or early
okay,
November, just because it's a fast read. But also, like you said, the audiobook is actually narrated by Ashley. So if
it is.
you're kind of like a
So it's
very
so
like
much better.
verbal person, listening to things is kind of more your scene, it's a great way to kind of dive into that
Hmm.
story. It's also just a great book, like Hannah said. Like it really does add so much to like her character.
Yep. And then the last few things I have on here, and again, stay tuned on my Instagram. I will make this more cohesive. I'm still all over the place. But her episodes in Rebels that she's in. So I believe it's the Rebels season 1 finale, the Twilight of the Apprentice arc, and A
Mhm.
World Between Worlds arc. And honestly, if you just want to throw it in there, the whole Jedi Knight arc with Kanan, because why not?
Oh yeah, that's
So
a good one.
I will have a better list. I also feel like maybe the Thrawn trilogy would be nice to read. I've read Heir to the Empire, but as we all know, I cannot seem to get any farther in Dark Force Rising. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I
But
love that book so much.
I also wonder if the canon Thrawn books would maybe be a little
I
better.
was about to bring those up. Let's
Yeah.
go. I was actually going to say, whereas you're talking about Ahsoka, I'm going to talk about Thrawn real quick.
Go ahead.
Like Hannah said, the Legends Thrawn books are a great place to start with Thrawn. They're also a great place to start reading Star Wars books if you're interested. Even though they're not canon anymore, they really capture the essence of the original trilogy extremely well.
Hmm.
And I think that all three of those books are fantastic. And everybody hypes up Heir to the Empire. My favorite, I used to say was Dark Force Rising, but after a lot of thought, I really think it's The Last Command. I really think it's like the last one.
I will
Um,
say, I think Thrawn definitely outshines, like, for characters with how well they're written.
yeah,
I think he's the best written in these. So, like, if you want to get a better
he's
understanding
so
of
good.
Thrawn, even though they're not canon per se, it's still Thrawn.
So if you do want a better understanding of Thrawn and canon, though,
Mhm.
this is what I would recommend. Of course, you can watch his episodes of Rebels, and those are all great episodes. If you want to read about Thrawn, there's two canon Thrawn trilogies. There's one that came first about his time with the Empire, and then there's another one that came a little bit later, and it's basically about the Chiss ascendancy and everything
Mhm.
about them outside of like the main galaxy. And well, they're in the main galaxy, but they're very disconnected.
Yeah.
And it's about Thrawn's time with the Chiss ascendancy before he ended up with like the Empire and everything like that. Um, and this is what I will say. Um, I think that the Ascendancy books are better than the first Canon Thrawn trilogy about him with the Empire.
Okay.
They're very dense reads. Those books are huge. Um, and honestly, I think I've said it before, and I'm not the first person to say this. If
Hmm.
you took the Star Wars label off of those books, you would have your own unique science fiction. There's like next to no connections with like the Jedi, Sith, anything like that.
Okay.
Um, in those books. There is some cool stuff with the Force and how the Chiss kind of like read into that.
Okay.
But aside from that, and like one big connection that actually ties word for word with another book in the other Thrawn trilogy, which I don't
Oh.
want to spoil, but if you've read those books, you know what I'm talking about. It's really cool. But I think that those books are better. But I actually prefer the first Canon Thrawn trilogy about his time with the Empire. And if you're going to read about Thrawn in canon, please, please, please start with that first Canon Thrawn trilogy first.
Mm,
It's Thrawn, Thrawn Alliances, and Thrawn Treason.
okay.
Thrawn Treason, especially, is phenomenal. That book is
Those are the
great.
ones that I see in Barnes and Noble all the time.
The covers match.
Yes, I
They
love the
are a
covers.
trilogy, but they're actually very disconnected. Like it's not
Okay.
one giant interconnected story. You honestly could just pick up any of them and start reading them if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So all I'll say is if you want his origins with the Empire and everything like that, you'll get that in the 2017 Thrawn book. If you want a story about Thrawn and Darth Vader and also Thrawn and Anakin Skywalker, you'll
Mm-hmm.
get that story in Thrawn Alliances. And if you kind of want like a Thrawn story set in between Rebels and Thrawn kind of beefing with Orson Krennic about where the Empire's funding needs to go and how Palpatine kind of looks and feels about Thrawn. You'll get that with Thrawn Treason. So all
Okay.
three of those books are great. If you want a big interconnected sci-fi epic trilogy, you'll get that with the Ascendancy trilogy. So I will recommend those. And again, if you want to start with Legends books, they're all by Timothy Zahn. So you're
Mm-hmm.
getting it all from the same guy. That was a
Good to
lot,
know.
but I hope it helped
It is a
somebody
lot.
out.
So yeah, stay tuned for my more put together thoughts. I promise I want to record it this weekend, so stay tuned.
Cool.
But yeah, I feel like that's a good place to wrap it up. What do you think?
I think so too. I'm out of breath from talking so much. That was a lot. You get me talking about these Thrawn books. I'll just keep going.
I
They're
know.
excellent reads, though, really. And even the ones that you said, like the Ahsoka book,
Mm,
it's so good.
so good.
Um, but thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. We have video coming
Yeah.
soon. This time we both mean it.
Trust.
Um, is going to happen by the will of the Force. We will make
I've
it
got the
happen.
lightsaber on their necks, guys, to record video. We're gonna do
And
it.
we're not gonna not do it and play Fortnite instead. Not this time. Not when Hannah's in charge.
This is why you need women around.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening. As always, whether you're on YouTube or Spotify, we appreciate it greatly. If you would, you can like the video or you can give us a rating on Spotify. It really helps boost us up and makes us look great. So we appreciate it if you would give us a rating and some feedback. You can also comment on both YouTube and Spotify. So if you want a question answered on a future episode of the pod or anything like that, you can leave a comment as
Yeah,
well.
let us know.
And help spread the word by sharing the pod on YouTube or Spotify because we're looking for more members of the Star Wars community to talk to and potentially feature on the pod in a future episode as well.
Yeah.
So we have that as well. But thank you guys again so much for watching and listening. Dap us up through the Force. And until the next episode, may the Force be with you.
Bye.